Hi Jen, how are you doing today?
Okay. Little, still a little stressed, but doing okay.
Okay. How has the last 2 weeks been for you since our last appointment?
Um, it's been okay. I've started to look at like different job posting
Hmm.
sites and and asking around and like kind of contacting some of the contacts that I made over my two um, field experiences
Hmm.
to look and see what kind of jobs are out there. And um, it's kind of made me feel good that there are jobs in my field,
Hmm.
but also just kind of made that stress a little bit kind of grow even more of like, the fear of not getting a job.
Okay. So, what makes you fearful about not being able to get a job?
I think it's just you know when when I went to school the first time and
Hmm.
got my first degree, I graduated right at the time that the I was going into teaching,
Hmm.
that the um, need for teachers kind of like stopped,
Okay.
and so there were a lot of people graduating and not a lot of positions available,
Okay.
and so I was able to substitute for a while, but never secure a placement, and um, like I don't know if it's just kind of like that's in my head that I'm afraid of history repeating itself,
Okay.
um, or just you know now there are so many other things on my plate, and like having a child that depends on
Hmm.
me, and um, you know being older, that I can't go back and do this again. Like this is it, and I have to find it. And so that stress of um, everything riding on this is just kind of freaking me out.
Yeah, I can totally understand how that would be freaking you out, especially if you already went to school once and got a degree and the job market really wasn't needful at the time. And now that you have a child who, like you said, is dependent on you, this is really, kind of a really big stressor. I can totally understand that. Do you know, have you looked at jobs? I mean, are there a lot of social worker jobs out in the area or within the state of Michigan? Do you know?
Yeah, like every time I've looked, there's a lot as
Okay.
far as the state of Michigan goes. Like locally, I mean, I wouldn't say that there's a ton, but
Hmm.
there was actually even a lot more than I expected there to be in in a range of social work areas.
Hmm.
There was a couple of the different hospitals that had things posted. There was um, a like a couple in substance abuse. I know that there was like like a shelter, kind of like in the area that I'm doing my field placement now,
Okay.
and um, like they all have things posted, all looking for like the master's
Hmm.
level, and um, so I was I was really surprised at the amount that really are available that would allow me to like stay in the house that I'm
Hmm.
at, and
Not have to relocate.
yeah.
Okay. So it kind of sounds like I'm hearing you this anxiety and stress about not getting a job is kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of not exactly a evidence based thing if you're seeing all these jobs, within the state of Michigan, but also, within your geographical area where you could still live where you live and, just commute to work. And so, correct me if I'm wrong, but it kind of sounds like it's a little bit of an avoidance you kind of have with looking for a job and dealing with that. Am I correct in that kind of assumption?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's I know. After coming here and being referred to me, you doing a lot of you have the generalized anxiety disorder, and there's a diagram I actually have. I want to show you that could be really helpful to understanding how your thoughts kind of contribute to these the avoidance behavior and stuff. So this is kind of a really basic diagram of a CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, which will be a lot of the excuse me, a lot of the basis of the kind of work that you and I are going to do together. But what this shows is that so you have this thought of, okay, you've had this past experience of I've gone to school, I've gotten a degree, the job market it's really dried up. There's not a lot of jobs. So, but now you're looking almost finishing with your second degree at the master's level and seeing a lot of jobs in the area. So you get this going back to the old one, you get this feeling of, oh, I'm not going to get a job, which causes this behavior of avoidance. So it's all kind of a cyclical process that to kind of counteract the avoidant behavior and characteristics of dealing with the anxiety is almost, it really is retraining and reprogramming your brain when you encounter an anxious situation or a situation that causes you stress and anxiety. So for to help with the anxiety of not of thinking, that the job pool is really saturated, the thought of, oh, I'm going to finish school and I'm not going to be able to get a job, that feeling, and then the behavior of avoidance, you could start reframing your thought in of, I have evidence of the very large and needful market of masters of social workers in the state of Michigan, but even in a really close geographical location of where I live. Having all these jobs, yeah, I'm going to have to apply to a lot of them. I might have a lot of interviews. I might get rejected, but that's something that's going to happen. And that feeling of avoidance is going to really come back and kind of probably would deter you, but that reprogramming of, nope, I'm going to get a job. I have the skills. I have the training, then is going to help you modify that behavior to then go ahead and start applying for jobs and looking and seeing what is out there and available for you and what would really work. So do you have any questions about this, or does that make sense to you?
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess I can see too how, like, looking at it this way, how that, like, avoidance does keep coming back because that feeling of and fear of being rejected kind of does make me always like want to take a step back.
Right, and that's one of those symptoms, if you will, of anxiety is possibly having that past experience of rejection, and like with your first degree and the oversaturated or drowned up job market, and excuse me, that feeling of, oh, it's going to happen again. I'm not going to get full-time employment, and then now you have all these other factors now that you're almost graduating and your daughter. And feeling that, oh, it's going to happen again. I've put all this time and this effort into it, but you have the evidence that that's not true. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? And that before there was not a lot of jobs, and all you could get was really temporary work, if you will.
Yeah.
But now you're seeing, as you've started to kind of getting closer to graduation and looking for a job, you've seen the overwhelming need of postings within the area and stuff.
Now, like, will this, kind of like, as I've told you before, there are, once I start thinking about the job, mm-hmm. and then I become afraid of not getting a job, and then that sort of takes me off into different directions, like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to support my daughter, oh my mm-hmm. God, I'm a bad mom, like, all of, those things. Do you think that will help, like, with all of that offshoot stuff?
Yes.
or am I going to kind of have to focus on each of those separately?
So with CBT and mindfulness that we're gonna work on, it's gonna take when these really intrusive thoughts that cause you anxiety. It's really gonna be a situational thing as it presents itself. So, and by that I mean, let's say a situation of you're looking for this job and you're getting anxious about it. So taking really a step back and realizing what's causing this anxiety. Is it my past experience? Is there evidence that supports me being anxious for a reason? And if you can take a step back and start really assessing situations as they present themselves and really looking for the root cause of why the anxiety is happening, it will help you reframe your mind and retrain your thoughts and your feelings and help, then mitigate or alleviate that behavior. And, and I just heard you say these thoughts of not being able to get a job and then feeling like a bad mother and you're not being able to support your daughter.